Am I the only one that didn't know this could change everything? Stay tuned! Welcome to our webinar, How to Do Business with Enterprise Mobility, part of the Minorea-BEM initiative. Today we're empowering small businesses in construction to enhance their contracting capacity and secure contracts like never before. Presented by Andrea Navarrete, CEO of Minorea-BEM, with special guest Paul McGlynn, Group Property Development and Construction Manager at FMP Enterprise Mobility. Get ready to transform your business.
Okay, it's officially 2 o'clock and we are now in business to start talking about our webinars and what we're doing here. So good afternoon, my name is Andrea. I'm with the Minorea Business Equality Movements, where we look for opportunities, create programs to build capacities, such as this one, which is how to do business with, in this case, on enterprise mobility now, which is all the enterprises around the nation, pretty much, rent a car, that we're going to learn a little bit about how to do business with enterprise rent a car or enterprise mobility. But a little bit before, I want to talk about how we're going to be conducting this webinar, and then a little bit of what Minorea and Business Equality Movements does, and then we'll go a little further on, going into the meat portion of the webinar, which is getting to know Enterprise, Paul McGlynn, and what resources are available and contracting opportunities are available with this company. So the webinar, for all the registrants, we're going to be having a copy of this presentation, so you don't have to worry about taking notes or anything like that. You can take notes, but you're always going to have a copy that we're going to be sending via email. Thank you for participating. Again, Minorea is a consulting service that provides outreach services and consulting services to help disadvantaged businesses in the construction industry, particularly, but in general, obviously, any social and economic disadvantaged business that is in need of any type of guidance, resources, and opportunity. However, not a lot of contractors or businesses are really to the point of being contract ready. It's a journey, right? So Business Equality Movements is a nonprofit organization that creates programs, just like I mentioned, just like this one, and develops opportunity, resources, and connections to be able to help you build capacity to become contract ready. So that's we seek support from diversity, equity, and inclusion organizations that understand the importance of applying that concept, that social responsibility within their corporation. And one of our key sponsors is Caltrans. So now going to get to understand what enterprise is and what they're about and what opportunities we have our amazing guest speaker, Paul McGlynn. He is a Group Property Development Manager for Enterprise Mobility. He is in charge of the property development and the construction aspect of enterprise or enterprise mobility. So Paul has over 25 years of experience. I'm sorry, there's a bit of an echo. Okay, I think we're almost. All right, so I'm sorry, Paul, for that interruption. But Paul has over 25 years of experience in the car and rental leasing industry. And he's going to be able to provide us a lot of information of what he does to be able to deliver the appropriate customer service and the customer satisfaction that is expected out of our national corporation like Enterprise Mobility. So thank you, Paul, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Andrea. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. And I know that within our years of getting to know each other, you're an amazing advocate for small businesses. You try to connect, you try to empower them. So it's a privilege to have you participating in this webinar and helping us help others get to understand how to do business with Enterprise. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Okay, if you don't mind, I was very brief on what you do, and I know you do a lot. So would you be able to provide some of your background with Enterprise Rent-A-Car and your journey with them?
Sure. I've been with Enterprise now for 28 years. I started when I was 2 years old, so here I am at 30 with the company. I started working at our car rental locations. I was a store manager for us for both our car rental and our truck rental sites before I joined our outside sales team, selling our business-to-business model for corporate travel, trucking logistics, and fleet management to our client base. Back in 2017, they asked me to be part of the real estate team, and I've been doing that for the last 7 years. So as we look at the Southern California footprint, so from San Diego up through Paso Robles, Enterprise has over 300 locations, and that could be Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Alamo Car Rental, National Car Rental, Enterprise Car Sales, Enterprise Truck Rental, Enterprise Fleet Management, and Commute by Enterprise. So we have about 300 locations. Some of them are B2B, other are retail sites for interacting with the daily public. But my department and our team oversees all of these properties. We are tasked with finding new sites for Enterprise, negotiating leases. We partner with architects locally to do our design. We put our construction projects out to bid locally. And then once the site is up and running, I also have an internal team of maintenance technicians and also third-party vendors that help us maintain the facilities.
That's a lot of work. But I see that there's a lot of coordination involved when it comes to your position, and identifying the proper team is vital, right? So how long has Enterprise considered diversity, equity, and inclusion an important part of their social responsibility?
Well, we've been doing it kind of since our inception. Enterprise was founded back in 1957, and because we're a very decentralized company, and what I mean by that is our corporate office, which is in St. Louis, they're not really calling the day-to-day shots. It's the local business operators here, our management team, that are making these decisions. We've been partnering with small businesses from the get-go. I would say probably about 15 years ago is when we really kind of put pen to paper to come up with what we called our supplier diversity initiative, which was spending money with local small business. So the money our business is generating, we're trying to infuse back into the community. And we've been doing it ever since.
Great. So out of your experience in working with these small businesses, what are the challenges you face when you're looking at contractors in particular? I mean, I'm sure there's other businesses that you work with, but considering those supplier diversity initiatives, what are the challenges you've faced when you're trying to support your local hire and small businesses?
Right. Well, the biggest challenge is trying to meet these small businesses. A lot of times it's not like we're posting on a website that, hey, we've got these bidding opportunities. It's really partnerships with people like Minorea to make this known to their client base. We do other outreach events, whether it's with Veterans in Business, the VIB organization. We partner with like Los Angeles World Airports and other accrediting agencies to help us find these certified DBEs to do business with. That's probably our biggest hurdle.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's true. There's a lot of contractors out there that find it hard to find, right, the proper contact that can make a decision and connect with these large organizations. And sometimes it's just a matter of identifying what organizations are there to help them get those connections. And yes, we're all about that and helping do connect the dots, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so, once we find the businesses, it's, trying to find that niche. You don't necessarily have to be the biggest within your industry, but someone that can really convey to us what it is that their business does, being able to describe their territory, where they prefer to work, and their expertise, and then just finding a way to fit that into our needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So once you identify the contractor, what out of your experience in working with small contractors, what advice would you give whenever they're trying to win contracts with enterprise or other large corporations out there? What advice would you give them to be prepared?
Well, obviously be prepared with all the proper paperwork, whether it's your bank account information, your W-9 form already filled out, ready to go, certificate of insurance, and then most importantly, acting in an organized manner and being able to regularly communicate. It's my wife has her own business, so I can really appreciate a small business owner, the many hats that they wear and how they juggle. But taking time away from the actual doing of the business to communicate and work with somebody like myself to grow your business is just as important as the day-to-day job duties.
Right. And it's so important, and we emphasize so much as we educate and provide these programs that if you start the right way, it's a lot easier to have those opportunities, because like you mentioned, the paperwork is going to be a requirement, and if you don't have all the paperwork in line, you can lose that opportunity because other contractors out there might have it and might give that time that they need. So now with a little bit of more meat, this is something that I'm sure the audience wants to know. What is the procurement process that we have to go through in case we wanted to acquire a contract with Enterprise?
Well, the first thing, like I mentioned, is meeting with us. Let's have a conversation about what it is that your company does and truly see if there's a fit. It's got to be a partnership on both sides. And a lot of times, when folks hear about what our construction process is, how frequently or infrequently we do work, that's really going to, kind of be up to them to decide if we're a good fit for them. But once we've kind of gotten through that, like I said, making sure that they have their paperwork ready to go, that we have everything on file, and then, working within our timeline. My construction projects, there's no real ebb and flow to it. It's not like I go from one to one. I might finish a project and it might be 6 months before I start my next one, but then all of a sudden I got 3 projects going on at once. So, being patient with us and getting in line, and then more importantly, then we've got the bidding process that we've got to work through. And one of the things that we do, which is probably a little bit different, is it doesn't necessarily have to be the low price leader that we work with. Price is important, as we all know, but it's kind of as long as you're within a certain percentage range of all the other bidders. We look at lots of other aspects as well, such as performance on other previous work with us. Did you deliver on time and did you deliver on budget? Obviously, if it's your first job with us, we might start you off on something small, just to kind of get a good feel for who you are before we give you the opportunity on some of our larger projects. We do everything from, little $10,000 tenant improvements, repainting and recarpet, all the way up to $1 million ground up. So we'll usually find a step somewhere in there to get you inserted, and then depending on your performance, it's kind of up to you where we go from there.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention about any questions that you might have. Feel free to put them on the Q&A section or on the chat, because I'm already noticing there's questions on the chat right now. And we're gonna make sure to address them once we're finished, and we're getting very close to finishing all the questions I have. So then we'll open it to everybody else. And I think the last question that I had, you halfway answered it. If not, you already answered it. Because it's very important to understand what the minimum capacity requirements of a particular contractor is needed for certain organizations. But as you are explaining, you're opening it up to contractors that have the capacity to be able to do projects, small projects, 50,000 or less, and then they can work themselves up to opportunities that can run in the millions. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that I would encourage everyone is, whether it's enterprise mobility or another potential client that you're working with, you got to be honest. Let us know what your capabilities are. It sounds great to do some of these large jobs, but they're very complex. There's a lot of moving parts. Obviously, cash flow comes into play, where not every business is geared towards that. I've got other vendors that, they might be based down in Orange County, but they want to go all the way up to Lancaster and Palmdale to do work, which might not make the best business sense for you, for that business, as you've got employees on the road and vehicles consuming fuel and commute times. So be realistic and be honest about what you want to do. Growth, it's a double-edged sword. It's fantastic. It's what we all want. But if you grow too big or you grow too far out of your territory, you're going to end up hurting your business. So we do have lots of projects, like I said, ranging in size. Be honest with what your capabilities are and where you want to work, and we'll do our best to try and work with that. Now, if you tell me that you can only work in the city of Downey, obviously, you may not have as many opportunities as if you're willing to go to Downey and Bellflower and Long Beach or Santa Fe Springs, where we can kind of expand that radius. But just make sure, like I said, don't expand that radius too far.
Yeah. And you're very correct on what you're saying. At the end of the day, especially in construction, at the end of the day, it's not about whether you take the project or you don't take the opportunity. It's about building the relationship of who's giving you the opportunity. And in the majority of cases, project managers, estimators, or decision makers such as you, Paul, respect whenever they communicate that at the moment they're at full capacity. Mm-hmm. and they'll pass and they'll continue providing opportunities, because they know that maybe that full capacity is a very temporary situation, where later on, months after, there can be another opportunity where they can be completely free to be able to perform correctly on your project.
100% accurate with that. I appreciate that honesty out of a business partner, when they can tell me, hey, I'd love to bid on this. I have 2 other jobs, and I know if I take this on, there's going to be delays and you won't be happy. That goes a long way with me, that you recognize your own capabilities, and those are the type of people I want to do business with.
Right. See, I was right. It's all about relationships, and and even though we always hear it, it is true. I mean, it's making sure that you can communicate the proper way and explain that you do want to do business with them, but it's important for you to deliver what they're going to promise. And if that's in jeopardy, might as well not take the opportunity at the moment. So
Right.
now I'm gonna open it for questions. I'm gonna check. There's a couple questions. So one of them is from an anonymous attendee. In other entities, certifications like SBE, MBE are necessary. Is this type of certification required for contracting and doing business with enterprise?
No, no, it's not required, but it definitely is helpful. Another easy step for business owners, and I think, Andrea, you remember you helped us out with this, was just learning how to go to Duns and Bradstreet and registering your business through them, and self-identifying as disadvantaged business entity. But it's not necessary. We work with all sorts of types of businesses, that are owned by various types of ownership groups.
And I believe that that enterprise is even easier. So we try to help contractors and businesses with contract acquisition, but when it comes to private organizations, private industries, the process can be even more complex sometimes, or a lot simpler. In this situation, as everybody got to see, the enterprise is more of a simple process. Would you care to explain why that might be, Paul?
Well, part of it is just our nature. Like I said, we're a very decentralized company. So although we have a global footprint, it's, for example, North America is broken up into 65 different operating groups. So each one of those operating groups has their own decision-making capabilities if it works within their business model. So instead of me having to send you back to our corporate office in St. Louis, it's myself or somebody on my team that you would be working directly with to decide if there's an opportunity to partner up. So it allows us to be flexible and move a little bit quicker. We do have our own internal approval process and RFPs that we have to go through, but it's not like I have to send this out to, like if I was a city and municipality, I have to send it out to city council. It has to be open for comment to the public for, a couple months, and then it gets voted on and then brings back in there. So it's a little bit quicker of a timeline compared to a government agency or maybe a larger corporation where they don't have local representation.
Right. And for contractors, large contractors usually do require a certain process for pre-qualification, but that's due to the nature of of being a large contractor and making Correct. Sure that they can perform as subcontractors. So it's a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of our other internal features that your clients might be interested in is we do require that for the larger projects that there's a bond involved. So making sure that you have an insurance provider that can provide you with a bond is critical for that step. And that's also one of the things we look at is, what is the bond rate that you're provided with? We can tell a lot about a contractor and their past performance, whether they have done work for enterprise or not, based off that bond rate with their insurance carrier. So that's another good little point there for them.
Yes, and that's sometimes a big hurdle that a lot of contractors need to overcome. But that's exactly why Business Equality Movements is here to provide those type of programs where they can overcome those hurdles. So I have another quick question. Actually, there's two additional ones. Do you have a list of local projects that will be available in the near future? Sort of like a forecast?
I don't per se have a list because, again, I'm one of 5 people. So again, the territory that my team and we manage is from San Diego all the way up to Paso Robles, and from the coast out to Barstow and Bakersfield. So within all of us, our geographic territories, we've got kind of a running list, but there isn't a major list. One of the things that'll happen is as we go through this interview and we meet you and we learn more about that geographic area that you're working out of, then yes, we can get you a list for that area specifically.
Okay, that's good to know. That's something I didn't know. All right, so I got a question from Frank Montes. Oh, and the past question was from Alicia Pombona. I know that you're in charge of some of quite a few things, but including besides construction, you mentioned real estate as well. And I know she has a real estate background. So is there something related to real estate when it comes to to a list of projects?
Yeah. If it's real estate related, then yeah, of course we do have a list of kind of what our expansion plans are, where we want to go, and what we're looking for. In order to go through that, we would love to meet with you first, have a conversation. For the real estate side, we do require an NDA to be on file, and then after that, we can share with you kind of where we're looking to expand our footprint.
Okay, perfect. Now, Frank Montes, Inland Body and Paint Center is a certified minority women-owned business. He says we own a collision center in the Inland Empire that services the Southern California and Inland Empire. We specialize in large commercial fleets, from passenger vehicles to commercial vehicles. Who would be the person to contact and begin a conversation of becoming a repair partner for Enterprise Mobility?
Well, obviously today we're kind of geared around construction, but you're spot on, Frank. We rent a lot of cars. We fix a lot of cars. I have an email address. It's not just for Frank. It's for anybody here that's interested in doing business. You can send us a note about your business, and I can navigate it to the right person for whatever your expertise lies in. So if you guys all want to grab a pen and a piece of paper, I'm going to give you that address right now. And it's GP as in Paul, the number 32, group outreach, just like you spell it, at EM, which stands for enterprisemobility.com. So GP32 group outreach at em.com. Feel free to drop us an email if you have any materials you want to include, sales and marketing materials about your business. Send us a note. Let us know where you're located, what your trade specialty is, where you would like to work, and we will be happy to review your email and get you to the right department.
And that's great. That's great that you have that email. We'll make sure to include it on the slides, well, on the presentation, on the video, and then whenever you want to have any type of communication with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, feel free to connect with us as well. Paul is a very good friend. We've been working together for a few years, even before COVID. And I know his team and him are always open to working together. Actually, we coordinated a few meet and greets. That was our start out of that business relationship. And perhaps later on, it'll be a good idea to start considering that meet and greet again, huh?
Anything with food, I'm all about it, Andrea. So we can set that up.
Don't take it.
I'd love to meet the folks, and yeah, we have had great success with partnering with the Minorea before. I can tell you that one of our largest janitorial vendors actually started off as a reference through Minorea. We've used plumbers in the past from Minorea, and you were kind enough to introduce me to some HVAC folks the other day. So it is something that we appreciate. Here at Enterprise, just here in Southern California, 10% of what we spend with other companies, expense categories, it's with diverse small businesses, women-owned, minority-owned businesses. So it's not just a bunch of talk, but we walk the walk as well.
Yes. And I have Tony Chi Gutierrez saying, food is good for us. Let us know when that happens. Thank you. Thank you very much for participating, Paul, for all your information. And thank you for all the participants. I hope this was of great value because I know it was for me. I got to learn even more about what Enterprise does. And then Enterprise is no longer Enterprise Holding, it's now Enterprise Mobility. So that's a
Yes, we went through a name change about 2 or 3 months ago, and if any of you have been watching any of the sporting events on TV, you've probably seen our new commercials. And basically the name of the change of the name was to just better align with what we do. And a lot of folks know us as Enterprise Rent a Car. Get your car in an accident or it's going to a dealership and you need a loaner car. We're there to help you out. But as I mentioned earlier, we have 6 different business lines, and many of them are business to business related, where we like to call ourselves a total transportation solution company, whether it's a sedan that you need all the way up to a box truck, if it's just a rental, if it's a company needing to lease vehicles, maybe you're in the market to buy a used car. Enterprise is a great place to start, where we have all of those to offer, all those services to offer to our customers.
Yeah, there's a lot, and obviously there's a lot more to understand. But I'm happy to say that Paul and Enterprise are supporting a lot of our initiatives and our events. We will be talking about some future events like Mega Mix Expo, which has a contractor's corner that we're in charge of to provide all kinds of resources and organizations that can provide contracting opportunities. So feel free to visit and subscribe to any of our channels, particularly the YouTube channel Minorea.ca, where you'll find this video along with other videos, and we have a vast library of small webinars or education videos that you can take advantage and get to understand how the contracting world is. Besides that, again, I thank you so much, Paul, for providing all this information, and we'll see each other hopefully, everybody, once we share all
August, right?
Yeah, it's August 6th and 7th that we're gonna have at the Mega Mix Expo in Ontario. It's a Ontario Convention Center, and
Yep.
Contractors Corner is gonna have also 2 hours of workshops that we're gonna be doing. So there's a lot of engagement that we're gonna be doing for that particular event, and we welcome you to make sure to register and participate. Okay.
Yeah, myself or Julian will be there for you. We're looking forward to it.
See, so you might be able to meet Paul in person.
There you go.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul. Take
Bye.
care,
Thanks for your time, everyone.
everybody. Bye.